Good evening, everybody, and welcome to tonight's episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Hannah Evans.
And I'm your forecaster, Matt Yarosewick.
So, Matt, I see that we have another messy weekend coming up ahead.
We do. We have a storm system that's going to be moving in and actually transferring its energy to another low-pressure system off the coast. That's going to create a wintry mess, at least in parts of central and northern parts of PA. So that's something to watch. I'll have that coming up in just a second in your forecast.
Okay, and we also have a couple of nature and news stories on this episode. Matt has a story of iguanas freezing in Florida, and I present a story on how hurricanes can form outside of the hurricane season.
And also later in the show, we have two new team members joining our team here at Whether or Not, and Tate will interview them, so you'll get to meet them later in the show.
But first, here is Nature in the News. The Atlantic hurricane season runs from June 1st to November 30th, and that is when 97% of tropical activity happens. Tropical cyclones can sometimes happen outside of this time frame. Since 1850, 17 tropical cyclones have formed in the Atlantic in the month of December. The last tropical cyclone that has formed in December was an unnamed storm in 2013. One of the biggest tropical cyclones to form outside of the hurricane season was Alice in 1954. Alice became a tropical storm on December 30th and then a hurricane on New Year's Eve and remained a hurricane through January 2nd, 1955. This goes to show that cyclones and hurricanes can form outside of the usual hurricane season, but we still have not seen one since 2013.
Iguanas began to fall from the trees in South Florida on Wednesday morning. These cold-blooded reptiles were stunned because of a cold air mass that moved over the normally warm peninsula of South Florida. The National Weather Service office in Miami warned that temperatures will be hovering in the mid to upper 30s, which also warranted a wind chill advisory over South Florida. The National Weather Service also put out a statement saying that falling iguanas are possible late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. This graphic circulated rapidly as falling iguanas were a top news story across the country, and this is not the first time that it's happened though. Iguanas have been around in South Florida for many years, and temperatures have caused this problem before. Although in recent years the iguana population has skyrocketed due to the abnormally warm weather all year round. So there were many more iguanas falling from these trees this past Wednesday morning. Don't worry though, these reptiles were just stunned. They eventually did warm up and walked away like nothing happened.
This winter has already started out strong in some states across the country. Heavy snow has been accumulated in the northern part of the United States. Montana has already almost reached their average annual snowfall, and Minnesota experienced its 8th snowiest November, accumulating about 28 inches of snow. A couple other cities in the Great Lakes region have also already received above average snowfall. These cities include Chicago, Milwaukee, Green Bay, and Detroit. This map shows the weather severity index across the United States, with red being a mild start to winter weather, orange being moderate, yellow being average, blue being severe, and purple being extreme winter weather occurring. Some parts of the West, where weather has been indicated as extreme, have experienced their coldest October on record. The cold shifted to the last east for November, and parts of the Northeast experienced their second coldest November on record.
Maine's giant ice disk is beginning to form again. This disk is just a combination of a perfect flow of water through an area of the Passumpsic River in Maine. This flow creates a rotating area of calmer water where ice begins to form. The flow, along with the freezing temperatures, will create ice that rotates in a counterclockwise motion, and it will grow in size as the ice accumulates on the edges of the disk. On January 18th, the city of Westbrook, Maine, tweeted this aerial photo of the ice disk in its beginning stages. The disk is not currently round, but over time it could become round as it rotates. This will likely grow in size as temperatures in Maine will continue to be near the freezing mark for at least the near future. This ice disk made headlines back in 2019, and it was a sight to see. The perfectly round disk of ice rotated for a few weeks before warmer weather melted the phenomenon. Will we see another perfectly round ice disk this year? We'll have to wait and see what Mother Nature can do. I'm Matt Yarosewick back here with your Central PA forecast. A dry end to our week, but a messy storm system moves in over the weekend, and we're going to time that out for you right now. Looking at Friday, across much of Pennsylvania, we'll just be dealing with some clouds, maybe some snow showers and mixed precipitation in far western parts of the state, but that precipitation will mainly be confined to Ohio and points to the north and the west. We do see on this map snow up to the northern areas into the Great Lakes and then rain on to the south. Now this storm system that is back over Illinois right now on Friday will be moving our way, and it will be transferring its energy to a secondary low pressure that will develop off the coast on Saturday, and we can actually see that right here. There's our primary low pressure system. That's going to weaken, and the energy is going to transfer here to the coast, and we're going to see more precipitation wrap up with this, but it will be in the form of rain, especially down towards southeastern parts of the state. Here in State College, we could be dealing with a wintry mess between rain and snow, maybe back and forth a few times here, as that temperature will fluctuate throughout the day. And then snow as you head north and west of central parts of Pennsylvania. And as we head into the day on Sunday, we'll be looking at much of the same, still some rain, snow showers present here in State College. Our low pressure system really hasn't moved all that much up over New York City and points to the north and the east. And then we have snow overspreading still interior parts of New York and up north of there as well. But here in State College for your Friday, 40 degrees will be your high temp. Will be cloudy ahead of our storm system that will move in late Friday night and into Saturday. Friday night, we will have some rain, snow showers possible late in the evening, maybe into the early morning hours of Saturday. That's when this storm system will really ramp up through the state. 32 degrees will be your low on Friday night. Then as we head to Saturday, 36 degrees will be your high temperature. Rain, snow showers, and even some heavier precipitation throughout the day is possible. And then as we head into the day on Sunday, 37 degrees will be your high temp. Still that chance for those rain, snow showers, though, as this storm system will begin to wrap up and move off to our north and our east. So a messy weekend is on tap, so make sure you keep checking back all of your weather accounts and your local news stations to get the latest forecast. Now I'm going to send it to Chris Tate over at the desk with one of our new team members here at Weather or Not. Chris?
Thanks, Matt. I'm joined here at the podium with one of the newest members of our Weather or Not team. I'm pleased to welcome to the set Allison Gutleyberg. Allison, pleased to have you on. How are classes going so far this semester?
They're doing pretty good. I have some hard classes, but we'll work them out, and I'm really happy to be here today.
Such is the life of a meteorology major here at Penn State. What year are you actually?
I'm actually a junior.
All right, so you've been around here a while. With the weather that we're expecting this weekend, possibility for a little bit of rain and snow, what's your thoughts on that? Are you a big snow fan? Do you want it to stay warm?
Yeah, I'm a big snow fan since I was younger. I always liked the snow. I know a lot of people in the meteorology department here at Penn State really do like the snow. So.
Myself included, since I'm from North Carolina, we definitely don't get enough of that in the school year. Now, since you are a junior, you've got just a couple of years left here at Penn State before you graduate. What do you hope to do once you attain your meteorology degree?
So after I get my meteorology degree, I'm planning on going into broadcasting for meteorology, yes.
A very fun and dynamic field. Allison, once again, welcome to the show. We're happy to have you on. Allison will be with us the entirety of the semester as part of the Weather or Not team. We'll be back right after this with the other new member of Weather or Not. And we're back with the other new member for this year's Whether or Not team. I'm pleased to welcome Dan Guzman. Dan, one of my classmates, good to have you on. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm currently a sophomore here at Penn State right now, and I am studying meteorology, obviously. It's not my first time in front of the green screen here, as I've been a part of the campus weather service, and I really enjoyed that. So I'm just looking forward to continue working on that, and hopefully just get better and better.
Very good. Well, we were talking during the break a little bit. You said you were from Long Island.
Yes.
What's your favorite weather phenomenon that you've seen on Long Island? Anything really crazy happened in your life so far?
Nothing really too exciting that I can remember, although I do remember there was a tornado that touched down in Queens, and it was
wow.
in EF0, but
Okay.
it didn't really cause much damage, so it wasn't anything too interesting. But yeah, I
That
guess
sounds
that's
kind of
probably-
rare for that part of New York.
It
though.
is. It's very
So
rare.
definitely, definitely
Yeah.
something on the exciting side of things,
Yeah.
especially as Long Island weather tends to go. Now, we asked Allison this question a little bit earlier. I'm curious to get your perspective. We've got a little bit of a rain-snow system headed our way this weekend.
Yes.
Are you hoping for jackpot snow totals, or do you wish it would just stay 40 and rain?
I'm kind of hoping for a little bit of snow, just because it hasn't really snowed that much here so far this season. But I mean, I guess rain would be easier to deal with.
Yeah,
for
that
everybody.
is
So,
true, especially navigating around
I'm
campus.
just going to stick with snow.
All right.
Stick with
Well,
snow.
like I said with Allison, I'm hoping for a big jackpot total too. You'll be seeing Dan Guzman the rest of the year here on Whether or Not, along with the rest of us. Stay tuned. Matt Yarosewick is back right after this with the extended forecast.
And I'm back with your extended forecast. The end to this week looks good. Our weekend looks messy. Next week, we may see a dry period there in the beginning of the week. But right now, looking at this weekend, our weekend recap. Friday, 40 degrees, clouds ahead of that storm system that's going to move in Saturday and Sunday. It'll bring a mixed bag of precipitation throughout the entire state, from rain to snow and even some sleet there mixed in. And temperatures will hover in the mid to upper 30s for high temperatures on Saturday and Sunday. And our lows will get just below the freezing mark, as you can see there on Saturday, 31 and 29 there for Sunday. A look at our extended forecast, which takes us into next week. We do look at Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We're just a bit above that average line here, which sits at 34 degrees. So just a bit above average, but as you can see, for the first 3 days of next week, no precipitation in the forecast, but that does change. The end of next week does look a little bit unsettled, and that's going to be the story really as we head through the weekend. Once we get through the storm system that we're tracking right now, we will be tracking our next one, which could lay on the horizon.
So Matt, I'm seeing this weekend's storm a little bit similar to last weekend's storm.
It is a little bit similar. We're still dealing with that mixed bag of precipitation, but here in State College, we may not see the same outcome that we saw. Here in State College, we got about 2.5 inches of snow or so, and then some ice on top of that, and it really glazed everything over. It may be a little bit of the opposite. We may get some of that rain and freezing precipitation at the onset of the storm, and it may switch over to some snow later in the storm.
So there may be some icier conditions this weekend.
There will. Definitely, if you're traveling on the roads, especially in central and northwestern parts of the state, definitely watch out for those slick spots on the roads.
Okay, and then earlier in the show, Matt had a nature and news story about our whiz quiz question this week, which was, what animal was seen falling from trees in southern Florida this past Wednesday? Was it A, a squirrel, B, iguana, C, tortoise, or D, manatee? And the answer is B, iguanas have been falling out of the trees in Florida because it has been so cold in Florida. And iguanas actually, they don't die, they just freeze and are frozen until it gets warmer.
Yeah, and actually, about this story, I just read an article, and a guy actually collected some of these iguanas, and he put them in his car. Well, he put them in his car, I guess, to take them to an animal shelter or something. But when they got in his car, they started to warm up.
Oh, wow.
Then they started walking around his car, and actually, he crashed his car because of this.
He was probably so scared. I would have been so scared.
I don't know about you. I definitely would not have put an iguana in my car. I don't care if it's moving or not.
Yeah, I definitely would not have done that. I would have been so scared if I was driving and all of a sudden they were crawling around my car.
Oh, yes.
Well, that wraps up this week's episode of Whether or Not. I'm your host, Hannah Evans.
And I'm your forecaster, Matt Yarosewick.
See you next week.